Just recently purchased a new Ruger Mark III on the bottom there, and wanted to kind of show it compared to the gun it's going to be replacing. It's going to become kind of a safe queen. The gun on the top, the pistol, is a Ruger. It's actually not even a Mark I, it's a Ruger Standard. It was made before the Mark I became a model. You can see it has a red hawk on it, on the emblem on the grips. And that was done up until 1951 November. This gun was built in September. The reason it was changed to black was that Sturm died, and all the eagles were then turned to black or silver with a black background. They recently came out with the red background, but the eagle is still silver. And that was done as a memorial to honor his death. Well, Bill Ruger created this pistol based on the Japanese Nambu, and Sturm jumped on board, Alex Sturm, when he saw the pistol, and they teamed up and made this rather Luger-looking pistol, and it's become a very popular pistol. The differences in the two are more evolutions of the pistol. Things such as the recent additions of loaded chamber indicators, the magazine release. The magazine release on the original ones, of course, down here on the bottom, more European nature. Other differences too, modifications in the ejector port, and the addition of a lock safety on the Mark IIIs, and a slide, or rather, it's not a slide, but a bolt stop right here, which is not present on the earlier ones. The bolt can be held back by pulling the bolt, engaging the safety, but it will not stay open on the last shot, as the new ones will. But then again, it's a much simpler mechanism and easier to take apart, easier to work on in some respects, but in all others they're really similar. Of course, this is a Target model. The new one came with hardwood grips that I didn't care for. They were not shaped to fit my hand well, so I went with a little more traditional grip on it. But the basic shape and design of the gun remains the same. In fact, many of the parts interchange, especially on the bolt. The springs all interchange. Of course, the internals have changed quite a bit in the safety area with the addition of the magazine release and the bolt holds stop here. Of course, the target sights, adjustable sights on the Target model, are just variations in the model rather than variations in the years produced. But the quality of the two guns is very similar too. This one, of course, had a little more plastic in it with the loaded chamber indicator, which is gone now. That's a replacement. Also has a magazine disconnect in it, which I removed because it was hampering the removal of my magazines. They wouldn't drop free. And also the slide or the magazine release has been extended on this, and it has an additional cut in it to allow it to load easier. If you inserted the magazine at an angle, it would not go in if any time when it was inserted at that incorrect angle. It had to be pretty much straight up and down. If you tilted it one way, it would not hold or allow it to go in all the way. So that went away, and now the magazine drops free, and the insertion of the magazine is just as sweet and smooth as the original one. The machining differences, though, is what caught my eye when I purchased this new pistol. The cut back here. I don't know if we'll be able to see it in this light, but somebody got a little carried away with the grinder a little bit. The cut is not perfectly even, whereas on this pistol, it's just beautifully square and evenly machined. The other thing I noticed was on this pistol, this is little square, that little rectangle right there is actually a welded in place piece that this retaining pin goes through on assembly, goes through the bolt and through this welded in piece. On this original pistol, it is virtually invisible. It's visible on the opposite side. If we get the light just right, there it is, we can just see it. But the machining of this gun is quite a bit closer to perfection than this new version. Of course, this new one being made 63 years after this one. You would think that with modern equipment that it would be at least up to par with the original, but it does fall short in some minor ways that don't affect operation of it, but do affect how it appears. The function of the gun is still perfect. I've shot many rounds to this, and it functions every bit as well as this gun, which happens to be the pistol I learned to shoot on as a young boy, as my father bought it brand new. And you can see by the holster wear on it, it got carried just about everywhere we went on the ranch, and I carried a lot rabbit hunting and learning to shoot, and unsupervised, I might add, but in my youth, never had any problems. And you can see the similarity of the bolts from this side, how things such as the extractor and the recoil springs, they all interchange directly. Two very fine shooters, and I highly recommend, if you like 22s, this is a good one to own. I actually sold a Browning Buckmark to purchase this pistol. I just did not like the amount of plastic in the Buckmark. It shot great, but being brought up on the Rugers, it just was not up to par with the Ruger in my opinion. The grip angle is kind of odd on them. It's not a 1911 grip angle. You can of course get the Ruger 2245 series that is much more in line with the Mark, or rather the 1911 types pistols, down to the magazine releases and whatnot. But again, they're a polymer framed pistol. Did not want that. I prefer, being old-fashioned, I guess, a steel gun, steel and wood. In this case, some plastic. And even this little filler is plastic, whereas the original, of course, is steel here, but just to make up for the lack of that. But just a little bit of interesting views of an original 1951 Ruger compared to a 2014 Ruger. Thanks.